Okay, it's live now. So this is the December 2017 GNU Radio project call, end of the year wrap up. We talked about not even doing this because we knew people would already be on vacation or on the holidays, but we'll do a quick wrap up all the same. And as usual, I have a couple of stats that I pull out of Git. I'm going to go through those. We have a couple of announcements. Nothing crazy in this agenda otherwise. All right, so let me quickly share my screen. There we go. Okay, we have, so this is the same, similar presentation to the one we did last year. I'm going to quickly go through some stats. So we had 254 commits. And I wanted to compare that to last year's, but then I realized I did the math wrong last year, so the numbers don't quite add up. We still have like plenty of traffic. It's gone down overall a little. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Just quick facts here. First commit of 2017 was by Jonathan Corgan. It's usually someone who's been around for a while. We have 49 unique committers from 53, so same ballpark, which is still a good number. And I didn't run like full stats on this, but just looking at the list when I made this, there's a couple of new names in there. The top 5 are all people that you recognize, although Ron was never like one of the top committers. He's been around for a long time though, and it's really a great the work all he's done in the DTV subsystem. So yeah, Ron is also on IRC a lot, so he's been around for a while, but like he's also contributed quite a bit. I'm not going to talk about out of tree projects because they're too hard to track. And like last year, that's where a lot of the focus has shifted. People are publishing code on their own. I also compile like Scholar stats. These aren't very meaningful though, because overall, like all numbers have gone down quite a bit compared to last year. So I don't really know how to compare. So I'm assuming Google's algorithm has changed. But sort of the relative importance of GNU Radio to like other comparable projects is, still smaller. So make sure we don't have any marketing departments, but it's should be our goal to try and overtake all these people in the next millennium, next century. Okay, I don't have any mailing list stats unfortunately because Marcus compiled them last year, and I forgot to ask him. Way too late, but I left the slide in just as a nod to Marcus himself because he can make the call, who is undoubtedly still our #1 mailing list contributor. By the way, Marcus also does a lot of commenting on Stack Overflow. So if you've ever had a like the GNU Radio question answered on Stack Overflow, there's a very high chance it was actually from Marcus. So last year we moved everything to GitHub. So this first bullet point is actually a copy and paste thing. We did that last year. And then when we opened it up, we had 77 bugs at the end of last year, so we have 148 now, about twice as many. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, because a lot of people go to GitHub and just post random things. And then sometimes that can be annoying, but it seems to be another avenue that people are more comfortable just voicing issues. So in the past, we've discussed whether or not the mailing list is really like an appropriate medium, because most of us are comfortable with mailing lists, we like them, but we know there's people who don't. So the question was, do we need something else? And no one really knew what that was. It's possible that GitHub is sort of filling that that gap, and a lot of people come by and just post questions there. Now the problem is, of course, that we don't answer questions on the issue tracker, and we just redirect people to the mailing list. But honestly, if people, unless people are doing this maliciously, I personally don't think that's a bad thing. If someone says, "Oh, I'm interested in this project, never heard of it," and just post an issue, or she, and we say, "Well, this isn't the right place to ask this kind of question, but go to the mailing list." I mean, I'm not sure if they do that, but I still think that's definitely an okay way to get acquainted with the project. And as usual, I also like referring to this little website, OpenHub. It gives some stats about us. So overall code and activity is still high, going up, but the analysis is also that we are decreasing year-over-year commits. So it's a bit of a shame, and we don't really know. I'm not going to talk about that because we don't have a good solution to that. One thing that's interesting, I like to keep an eye on this, is XML is obviously the number one, just in terms of lines of code, so the number one language. And I'd be curious to see what happens when we merge Hakon's change, which will basically replace all of this. I think this will go down significantly. It'll be interesting. There's a project summary here as well, which I thought is nice. So it's this little box in the middle that I usually take a look at this time of the year. And this is generally positive towards us, but it does point out that we are decreasing in commits per year. So that's a shame. But in general, this activity doesn't look awful. I think we could be doing better, but we could also be doing much worse. And one thing we promised last year at this point is we would have a better CI system, and I definitely think that's true, and that's also something that Andre Roda helped us with. We have BuildBot running on our AWS instance. If you submit a pull request, then it will automatically be built by BuildBot, and there will be reports and stuff like that. Very cool. I think we had 2 releases, if I counted correctly, this year. There were years when we had more. This year, a lot of activity happened on like the Next and Python 3 branches, because we're still gearing up towards that 3.8 release, which is probably going to be is an effort on a similar level as we had when we did the 3.6, or was it the 3.7 API change release? All right, so conference, fantastic. Actually, Ben, can you just take the slide? Just talk a little bit about the conference. We had a really good one, thanks to Ben mostly, and the fantastic organization team.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it in the last call, but yeah, once again, we had a record number of attendees. We grew again by, I think, like 35%, maybe closer to 40. So that was awesome. Last month, we did not have the conference videos up. Those are all up now, thanks again to Andre, who managed to take the time to upload all of them. There are many, many gigabytes of them, and label them and tag them and write descriptions for them and make them available in a GRCon 17 playlist on YouTube. So thank you again, Andre. Those are all up. So you should be able to find all of the talks there. I think actually we lost, I think there's only one talk that we don't have a recording for. And we don't have the file, and it seems like the media team at the venue also no longer has the file, but they're looking. So we might have lost one recording, but all of them are up otherwise. So for everyone who filled out the attendee survey for GRCon, one of the last questions was, would you be interested in participating in the GRCon organizing committee? And a huge percent of the people who filled out the survey actually indicated they would be willing to get involved with the organizing committee, but the survey had no way for you to tell us who you are. So we had dozens of people say they wanted to help, and we have no idea who those people are. So if you're one of the people who filled out the attendee survey, even if you didn't fill it out, even if you've never been to a GRCon, if you're interested in getting involved and helping plan the event for GRCon 2018, please send us a note. So you can just email grcon@gnuradio.org, and that will go to about a dozen people, and we can pull you into the process of planning. And right now, the GRCon planning committee is doing venue evaluations and basically trying to figure out what city and what venue we're going to go for in 2018. And then, as usual, as in previous years, our technical proceedings for GRCon are publicly available. This year was much stronger than any of the previous years, and we're already seeing a lot of citations rolling through Google Scholar on our technical proceedings. So, and thanks to Tim O'Shea for chairing those. Those have been really successful this year.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Ben. And thanks to the GRCon organizing committee. It was just a blast. It was amazing. All right. We had a big Hackfest at the NASA Ames Research Center this year. It was a week-long thing. So this is organized by DARPA and specifically Tom Rondo. It was actually multiple events rolled into one. So there was a Hackfest. So, we get out our gear and we hack. But also, and more importantly, or like more prominently, there was a drone flying challenge. You can check out the DARPA Hackfest website for more details. It was pretty impressive what people were doing with drones and usurps and GNU radio. Pretty good event, and Tom will actually be talking about that at FOSDEM. And even if you can't make it, that talk will be recorded. So 2018 Hackfest, there are none planned, which doesn't mean we won't have any. It just means we haven't planned them yet. If you're interested in hosting a Hackfest, let us know. And Hackfests can be of any size and any type really. So you could just do a local GNU radio gathering. That's totally fine. If you live somewhere in the middle of some country and you want to get your local GNU radio folks together, and like it doesn't have to be like a full blown thing. Like you don't have DARPA's budget, so you probably will be doing something else. Yeah. But if you want to invite people, from all over the world, you can just use the mailing list to do that. Get in touch with us, and we'll make sure there's some publicity around it, and we'll work with you. Actually, wait a minute, I forgot Tom's Hackfest. Tim's Hackfest, in Arlington. That was this year, right?
Yeah, it was. That was in April, I think.
Okay, sorry, Tim. Okay, Summer of Code. Oh, I forgot the screenshots. They're gone. No. Maybe I can Google something real quick. So, Summer of Code, well, always one of my favorite events of the year. Again, we had 4 students, and then at the end we had 3 students left. 3 amazing projects got completed, like very different things. So we had Luca from KIT work on his DAB codes, and that was just a really nice, finished application. It's like one of the things that we have too few of in GNU radio. I also think it's an impressive feat for an undergraduate project, which it coincidentally also was. And Luca actually spoke at GNU Radio conference about this project, and he was there. And yeah, really cool project. Then C++ code generation, Håkon worked on that. Now Håkon was actually a SOCAS student, so Summer of Code in Space. So he was funded by ESA, the European Space Agency, unlike the rest who were funded by Google. And Håkon will actually be at FOSDEM talking about his stuff, and he's also been very active on the Python 3 branch. So I'm very, very happy that we have continued activity. And finally, GR Bokeh GUI is a sort of an extension to the GUI toolset in a similar vein as GR Qt GUI, except it uses the Bokeh toolset. And now if I could remember the student's name off by heart, can someone help me out? That's slightly embarrassing. Excellent student from India who worked on this and has been publishing a lot on the mailing list as well. And of course, I'm blanking, but my brain is also only working at 10% today. So I'm really sorry about that. We attended the GSOC Mentor Summit. So 2 of our mentors from Germany flew to Mountain View to represent GNU Radio on the Google campus. And Felix, who has been a mentor and even a student at once, is actually going to be helping out with the org administration next year. So Summer of Code is going really strong for us, and I'm very happy about that. Our project calls, they're the ones like this. Oh, so I had a bit of a Google Drive snafu, and then I had to recreate the slides using the ones from last year. So this is actually the slide from last year. I apologize for that. The project calls are on Google Hangouts every month, unless we have conflicting dates, like with GRCon, and it does happen that we manage to slip up and not have those calls. But in general, they're every month, and they have a fair amount of views, which is kind of interesting. We're like usually above 100 views per call. Yeah, so there's continued interest, which I find refreshing. Sorry, this is also old. I'm just gonna go. I'm sorry about this. I had to recreate a whole bunch of slides. Yeah, we did launch a new website in 2016. So and it's still up. So the blog is continues to be a place of where we disseminate our news and where we can publish stuff in a very nice way. And of course, our Slack usage is very popular. So nice thing is that it ties into IRC like it always did. But on Slack, we have dedicated channels for various sub-projects on the side. So that was our year in retrospect. The only other thing I want to talk about real quick is 2 announcements. So first of all, I already mentioned FOSDEM. It will be in Brussels as usual on the 3rd and 4th of February next year. We have an SDR track. The schedule is finished and it's also already published, so you can check it out. But even if you're not presenting, I would highly invite you to come. It's a very, very interesting conference. You'll meet a lot of interesting people. The SDR track is a very nice mixed content about all sorts of things, not only GNU Radio. But there's also plenty of other tracks that are really interesting. So it's just packed with interesting people from the free software communities and with very good content. Of course, if you can make it to FOSDEM, then you will be able to watch the videos afterwards. I will quickly pull up the software-defined radio track, just as an FYI. So we have a nice mix. We have some recaps again. DARPA's Hackfest, we'll be talking about radar in various forms. We have a couple of people from academia who will be telling us about interesting concepts that they've implemented on SDRs. As I said, Hakon will be there, and various topics will be covered. SDR in space and real-world applications. In the last years, we always had a panel, which was usually well received, but it also took an hour. So this time, to get more speakers in, we sort of compressed the schedule a little bit. We did schedule half an hour for sort of bring your own device radio hacking. So you can just come up, show what you have, show us your projects, and if there's people you want to just ask questions, they'll probably also be there. I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen as I did all that, right? Or was I? No? Okay. I'll post the link to the FOSDEM schedule later. Okay, that's all I have. Did anyone else want to make any announcements? Mention anything? Okay, so I'm just going to quickly repeat what Ben said. If you want to help out with the GNU Radio conference next year, please get in touch with us. But if you want to help out with anything else, also get in touch with us. And it's sometimes difficult for us to come up with good things to do for everyone, but there's a lot of work. And it's not just code. We need help with the wiki, for example, or just general website management. We're not really very good at making websites. I can tell you that much. We're much better at making software radios. Yeah, if you want to fix bugs, that's nice. If you want to just fix documentation, that's nice. We really appreciate people, even if it's just participating on the mailing list, answering other people's questions, just reporting on stuff that you did. Build something cool with an SDR and tell the world about it. And if you use GNU Radio, we'll be all the happier. Yeah, so that's all we have. If no one else has anything else they want to throw in there, then I'll just say thanks everyone for contributing in 2017. Have a happy end of the Gregorian calendar holiday, and Happy New Year. See you in 2018, and let's do some cool SDR next year. Bye, everyone.